the team to victory.
My whole life would have been different. Your dad's life would have been different. You don't ever get over something like that.
The reason I want to tell the story of the Ice Bowl is because I knew my dad was a football player, but not a lot of conversations about when he was a Cowboy. I wish I'd asked more questions.
I cannot wait for that one. It's the Timeline, the Ice Bowl, presented by Land Rover, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, only right here on NFL Network. And if that didn't get you psyched up, this will. We are now joined by Michael Meredith, the director of the Timeline, the Ice Bowl. In addition to being an award-winning film director and screenwriter, he also happens to be the son of the late Cowboys legendary quarterback who played in that game, Dandy Don Meredith. Good morning, football, to you, Michael. Thank you for joining the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Now, Michael, I know that you are in Green Bay in that facility right now, but I also know the weather situation there is awfully similar to what it was in 1967. What do you got going on right now in Green Bay, and what conditions are we dealing with up there in Wisconsin?
Yeah, almost 50 years later to the day, we arrive and pull into the airport, and they say we can't get off the plane because the jetway is frozen. There's nothing we can do about it, so they had to actually back the plane out, go to the other jetway, and finally got us off the plane. And it's, I think it's 5 degrees warmer than the Ice Bowl, so it's negative 9 degrees right now.
Oh my goodness!
Show up in this. There's actually nobody here in the studio. I think it's too cold for them to come out.
Very fitting considering the documentary you worked on. The Ice Bowl is one of the most famous games in NFL history, and there have been a number of documentaries already done about it. What sets yours apart, and why should we watch the Timeline this week?
Well, I think everybody involved has more, there's retrospect. The guys are older. They've been telling this story for a long time. And then the son of the quarterback who lost the game comes along and says, will you talk to me? And it sort of shocks people a little bit, I think. And then they open up. You know, there's a lot of affection I've found that the players had for my dad. And they shared that with me and the camera. And I think it brings something new. And then just the Cowboy perspective. It's being told from the Texas point of view, with due respect to the great Packers. But it's a new take on the 50th anniversary of an epic story.
And a personal take and a personal perspective, I'm sure, as your dad was the Cowboys quarterback that we're seeing in that very game, a 3-time Pro Bowler, member of the Cowboys Ring of Honor. What was the most interesting thing that you learned about him in the process of making this doc?
I think that this game weighed heavily on him. I knew that he always wanted to win a Super Bowl. He wanted to take his team all the way, and that haunted him a bit. But I didn't know that the Ice Bowl was maybe the biggest disappointment, a tectonic shift in his life and the team. And I think it really devastated him. I didn't know to what degree that was the case. So. I learned that, and I learned what he had, the amount of pressure that he had, in addition to just trying to win to help the city of Dallas. And I got a lot of new pride for him that I didn't know about. So that's the big discovery for me personally.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Michael, you interviewed so many legendary men while putting this together, from Bart Starr, Jerry Kramer, David Robinson. Which one of those conversations stood out to you the most?
Wow. Well, the Packers, I grew up around the Cowboys, and some of them I hadn't seen for a long time, but coming back, that felt like family and more familiar. And maybe I knew some of the answers that they were going to give me. The Packers I never met, and I called up Bart Starr almost 4 years ago and said, can I come into your home? Can I interview you and your wife and your son? And he, of course, said, yeah. Gracious guy. He said, come, spend as much time as you need. I'd love to help you. Meeting him was an honor. Jerry Kramer, Dave Robinson, Chuck Mersine, they've become buddies. And that is just from not even being a filmmaker, just being a human, a pretty cool thing. So all of those guys, it's been an interesting ride and something I feel very fortunate to be part of.
Mike, it's an extremely cool thing. And I think of Lambeau Field, it's one of those places that sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And not many people may know this, but your father was first offered the iconic role of Sam Malone in Cheers and turned it down. Ted Danson comes right in and takes it. Why did Dad pass on that role? How did that happen?
Yeah, I think he was trying to stretch his talents. He wanted to try acting. He didn't want to be typecast, and they called him and said, "We want you to play, quarterback." Originally, it was written for a football player, and not the brightest quarterback, a guy that's kind of more simple, and he owns a bar, and my dad liked the concept, but he just didn't want to play an athlete. He wanted to try something that was going to show his range. So he turned that one down, and later I actually cast Ted Danson, who's an amazing guy, in a film that I did. And I don't know if he could have said no. He said yes, and he bought me a few lunches, and it was told me anytime you need anything, you give me a call, because it worked out pretty well for him.
That's awesome.
Dad turned down the role of Sam Malone.
And your father, obviously great on the Monday Night Football booth as well. You also are in the process of working on another Cowboys documentary. So this one tells it from the losing perspective of the Ice Bowl, which is a fascinating take. What does the other documentary that you're working on have to do with?
It's in large part about what happened in the city of Dallas in the 60s. So my dad was literally the first Cowboy. Before they had a coach, even a team name, they hired him. And the arc of his career is the early Cowboys. He retired in '69, so it pretty much covers that decade. His story and the team's story, coming out of nothing and rising pretty fast, and then what happened in Dallas, in addition to JFK, was pretty fascinating. So the film it's called First Cowboys, but it's about the city of Dallas seen through the eyes of the team.
And I know that the JFK situation has haunted Dallas for a long time, and the Cowboys were one of those great guiding lights that helped the city recover from that situation. Michael Meredith, director of The Timeline, The Ice Bowl, premieres tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to watch it indoors on my couch, but feel free to watch